Catherine, the Duchess of Kent, has died at age 92. Buckingham Palace put out a statement saying she died at her home in Kensington Palace. When the Duchess of Kent passed away at 92, nobody expected the huge drama her funeral would cause. But it wasn't her death that shocked the palace. It was the way she chose to be remembered. For the first time in modern royal history, Westminster Cathedral would hold a full Catholic funeral mass, breaking hundreds of years of tradition. Even royal experts who had seen everything were upset. So how could one quiet duchess cause such controversy and break royal rules? This is the story behind her amazing farewell, a royal goodbye like never before. The death of Catherine, Duchess of Kent, at age 92, ended a life full of quiet grace, kindness, and a strong desire to live her own way. But it's not just her death that has gotten everyone's attention. Both the public and royal watchers, it's the crazy way her funeral has been planned. For the first time in modern British history, a royal funeral will break away from the hundreds of years old Anglican traditions of the Church of England. Instead, Catherine will be honored with a full Catholic funeral mass at Westminster Cathedral, a choice that would have been impossible to imagine under the strict rules of the past. The Duchess's coffin will first stay at Kensington Palace, giving her family, close friends, and trusted people a quiet, private time to honor her memory and say goodbye. On September 15th, it will be moved to the huge Westminster Cathedral, where serious Catholic ceremonies, including the reception and evening prayers, will happen, surrounding everyone in respectful thinking. The next day at 2 p.m., the funeral mass she had carefully requested long before her death will take place, celebrating her life and faith. After the service, she will be buried at Frogmore in Windsor, the peaceful royal grounds that have held generations of the royal family for a long time. To historians and royal watchers, this funeral means way more than just a personal goodbye. It's a historic break with tradition. Westminster Cathedral, which opened in 1903, has never hosted a royal funeral before. Until now, the mourning rituals for the royal family were tightly connected to the Church of England, the religion historically linked to the monarchy itself. Catherine's choice to use Catholic ceremonies puts personal belief and faith above protocol, sending shockwaves through royal circles and challenging what people expected for hundreds of years. What makes Catherine's goodbye amazing is more than just its religious meaning. It shows her never giving up courage and independence. Even in death, she quietly stood up for her values, boldly showing her individuality within the royal family. Choosing Westminster Cathedral and Catholic ceremonies, she went against hundreds of years of tradition, leaving behind a legacy remembered not only for its historical importance, but for the quiet bravery of a woman who lived without apology on her own terms and stayed true to her beliefs until the end. Her funeral broke hundreds of years of tradition, shaking the monarchy to its core. But how did she start her journey? And what brought her into the heart of the royal circle? What really earned her the right to such a historic farewell? Now let us discover the amazing story of Catherine Worley's path to the crown. From Hovingham Hall to the royal spotlight, Catherine Worsley came into the world on February 22, 1933, born as the only daughter of Sir William Worsley, an important baronet whose life showed both tradition and public service. Her father's achievements were incredible. He was captain of the Yorkshire cricket team, served as president of the Marylebone Cricket Club, and later became Lord Lieutenant of the North Riding of Yorkshire. Growing up at Hovingham Hall, the family's old estate, Catherine was surrounded by hundreds of years of history, grand buildings, and a lasting sense of heritage. But within these walls filled with tradition, she found her own passions, especially a deep love for the arts, which would shape the direction of her life. From a young age, Catherine showed amazing musical talent. She learned to play the piano, organ, and violin, mastering each instrument with dedication and precision that would stay with her throughout her life. Music was way more than just a hobby. It became a defining force, building discipline, creativity, and a quiet inner strength. This early dive into the arts not only made her upbringing richer, but also gave her the courage to make choices guided by her beliefs, even when those choices were different from the strict expectations of royal life. Fate stepped in during 1956, bringing Catherine into contact with Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, who was stationed near her family home at Catterick. Their first meeting created an instant connection, and over the following years their bond grew into a lasting friendship. By March 1961, their engagement was publicly announced, getting widespread attention and excitement from the nation. The couple's union ended in a grand wedding at York Minster on June 8th of the same year, a ceremony celebrated nationwide and watched by countless fans. This marriage marked the beginning of Catherine's entry into the royal family, bringing her into a world ruled by protocol, scrutiny, and hundreds of years-old tradition. But even as she learned to navigate this new life under public attention, her early experiences shaped by music, discipline, and a deep sense of personal identity would guide her. Catherine carried her passions and beliefs quietly but firmly, laying the foundation for a life that balanced royal duty with personal honesty. Her journey from Hovingham Hall to York Minster was not just a passage into royalty. It was the start of a path defined by grace, independence, and a strong commitment to living life on her own terms. From Hovingham Hall to York Minster, Catherine's royal journey began. But would she follow royal protocol her entire life, or create her own path? Now let's discover how the Duchess of Kent boldly broke hundreds of years of royal tradition. The conversion that shocked the palace. The amazing story behind the Duchess of Kent's funeral begins almost 30 years ago, rooted in a deeply personal choice that would echo through the royal family for years. In 1994, Catherine made a huge decision. She converted to Roman Catholicism, becoming the first senior royal to do so since 1685. To the outside world, it looked like a sincere and private spiritual journey, an expression of faith. But inside the walls of the palace, it sent shockwaves that were anything but quiet. The monarchy's identity has long been connected with the Church of England, with the king or queen serving as its top leader. For hundreds of years, laws like the Act of Settlement of 1701 stopped Catholics from being in line for the throne, cementing a hundreds of years old connection between crown and church. By publicly becoming Catholic, Catherine accidentally challenged one of the monarchy's most lasting traditions. What might have seemed like a personal spiritual choice became, in the eyes of some within the establishment, a direct challenge to royal tradition. Inside the palace, reactions were immediate and sometimes harsh. Courtiers were reportedly shocked and deeply uncomfortable, while historians later remembered whispers describing her decision as reckless and disruptive. To certain traditionalists, Catherine had crossed a line choosing Rome over Canterbury and testing boundaries that had long been considered untouchable. Even though Queen Elizabeth quietly gave her blessing, the move was impossible to ignore. Headlines from that day hinted at tension, warning that her conversion might reopen historical divisions long thought settled. The uproar wasn't limited to the public. Among aristocrats, her decision was whispered about as a bold rule breaker. On the outside, the monarchy kept its calm royal image, but behind palace walls, tension simmered. Privately, many insiders saw Catherine as daring, even deliberately challenging. A royal quietly pushing the boundaries of what was acceptable. Her actions, subtle but unmistakable, showed a fearless willingness to test just how far tradition could bend before it broke. Catherine's choice showed a deeper truth about her life. It was marked by quiet rebellion and strong personal belief. While she fulfilled her royal duties with grace, she showed that personal faith and individual conscience could exist alongside hundreds of years of tradition. Even when her decision caused controversy, she stayed true to herself, proving that being authentic and courageous could quietly challenge expectations within the rigid framework of royal life. Catherine's bold conversion shook hundreds of years of royal tradition, leaving courtiers stunned and uncomfortable. But her rebellion didn't stop there. What other choices set her apart? Now let's discover how she abandoned royal grandeur to claim freedom, purpose, and a life lived entirely on her own terms. From crowns to classrooms after her conversion to Catholicism, Catherine, Duchess of Kent, began an amazing and unexpected new chapter in her life. In 1996, she quietly stepped back from public royal duties, a move that raised eyebrows across the palace and the press. Some observers saw her withdrawal as a result of controversy, a subtle sidelining after her faith had caused unease within royal circles. But for Catherine, it was not a retreat, but a conscious embrace of simplicity and purpose, a chance to devote herself to a more meaningful, hands-on calling, teaching music in elementary schools. In the classroom, Catherine left behind all the weight of her royal life, titles, ceremonies, and endless expectations. There, she was simply a teacher, patient, kind, and deeply committed to guiding young minds. Many students leave,